Welcome to the Pimp Your Brilliance podcast with Monique Malcolm, a show about creative people leveraging their brilliance to create their own opportunities. I aim to show you what's really possible when you shut down the chorus of fear and lean into your genius zone. You can learn more about this show and subscribe for updates by visiting keepchasingthestars.com/podcast. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Pimp Your Brilliance. I'm so glad that you're here. This is episode 80, and you can find show notes and more details at pimpyourbrilliance.com/80. Hey. I am back with another episode, and I want to talk to you about product ideas because I consider myself to be like an idea machine. I love coming up with ideas, love brainstorming ideas, and I think having ideas are really exciting. We get really excited when we have ideas because we just start thinking like about our business and this is going to be the thing. This is going to help my business take off. But I want to encourage you to pause for a minute. Don't get all swept up in that excitement because I know it can be both fun and challenging. There is a really critical step that you need to do before you start building your idea, and that is validating your product idea. This step is so often overlooked, and it's really skipped by creatives who are just so anxious to get started building their idea. And trust me when I tell you, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. This can be a very, very costly mistake, so don't skip the product validation. And that's what I want to talk about today in our episode. I want to share 4 ways that you can validate a product idea. And this is going to save you time. This is going to save you money. And you'll lessen the risk of building a product that nobody wants, because there is nothing worse than launching your idea to crickets or creating something that nobody's going to buy. And this is one of those ways that you can give yourself a leg up, better chance of creating a product that your audience is excited about and that they can't wait to give you their money to open their wallets. And so here we go. I'm going to go through these 4 ideas. But first, let's talk about why you need to validate your product idea. As I mentioned before, it'll save time and money. One thing that you just can't risk, especially when your business is new, you're starting out, you don't have time to waste. 1, because time is your most valuable and most precious resource. 2, funds are probably low. When you're starting, you're probably funding a lot of the business yourself with funds from maybe your 9-to-5, or maybe you have some other type of side hustle, or you're scraping by. You're not flush with cash yet. So there's not really a lot of wiggle room to waste money, to invest money in things that are not going to have some kind of gain or payoff. So you want to be really careful and set yourself up for the best success by validating the idea, making sure that this is something that, 1, your audience needs, so you're not making assumptions about what you think they need or what you think they want, because contrary to what you probably believe, you don't know what's best for your audience all the time. Sometimes you make assumptions, and you know what happens when you make an assumption? Has anybody ever told you what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of yourself. So don't make any assumptions, okay? The other thing is, it's really easy to overlook like flaws in your idea. So on one hand, it may seem like a really good idea to you and it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread, but you don't really know that. You're making, again, assumptions, and you're thinking that you know what's best for your audience instead of letting your audience be involved in the creation process, which, 1, is going to yield a better product, and 2, is going to yield a product that's more specific and more tailored to your audience. You're going to be able to hone in better on what it is they actually want and what it is they actually need if you spend some time validating the product up front. And this doesn't have to be a process that takes forever and ever, that drags on for weeks or even months. There are some ways that you can do this kind of quickly, and then there are some ways that are going to take you a bit longer, and I'm going to go through that. So I have 4 ways that you can validate a product idea. And the first way is probably one of the easiest and the least involved ways. And that is to find products that already exist on the market. Contrary to what most people believe, you don't need an untapped market to create a successful product. And here's why. When you are looking at products that already exist on the market, you can utilize the work that your competition has already done by looking at what they're already putting out. They've already spent time, they've already spent their resources validating those products, and you can build off of that. And this is exactly what I did when I created the Visionary Journal. I knew that people were already interested in planning, especially planning with physical paper planners. So I went to Amazon, Target, and to my local bookstores to check out what types of planners they were selling so that I could get an idea of what kind of features were my competitors missing. What were some things that I must have in my planner? Like, what did I need to include specifically? And I used that information to come up with one, the outline of my product, and then two, it helped me narrow down features and things that I needed to include in the planner once I went into production. So I didn't have to spend a lot of time doing a lot of research or trying to get a lot of information from my audience. Although I created a prototype of the planners and I gave it to people I knew and asked them to use it and got feedback that way. But that's a whole nother thing. The point is that I used what was already on the market to help me build my planner. So that's something that you can do as well. If you have an idea for a course or an idea for an ebook, an idea for, I don't know, some type of spreadsheets, you can look at places like Amazon and go and see what kind of books are currently available. If you have a course idea, looking to see what kind of books have already been written on that topic. You could even look at the outlines, or not the outlines, the table of contents for those books, and kind of get an idea of what kind of information is covered in that book. You can read the reviews to see if there are things that the author left out of the book that people felt they wanted more information on. These are all ways that you can validate the need for this idea, that people want this idea, that people are willing to pay for this thing. So do not underestimate the power of a Google search and what kind of information that can yield from you. Definitely look at what kind of products are already on the market that are really similar to what your idea is. So that's number one. Number two, again, another really simple one. And this is great, especially if you're a content creator. You're already having conversations with your audience. You're already sending them newsletters. You're already posting on social media and asking them questions. So why not get their input? Ask them what they want to know about. Ask them their thoughts on this idea. Too many creatives make the mistake of trying to build their products in a silo, and you don't have to do that. As a matter of fact, I think that is a terrible idea for you to do that, especially when your audience is so willing to help you out. They're so willing to answer your questions. They're so willing to give you feedback. Why not tap into that? And if you're going to ultimately be selling this product to people in your audience, why not give them a say in what they're going to be potentially buying in the future? There are lots of ways for you to gauge your audience interest in an idea. So you can survey them. You can use a tool like SurveyMonkey or Airtable. Airtable has a tool where you can create forms and collect all of that information in like a table database type setup. So you can do something like that. Instagram stories and Twitter both have poll features, and those have become really popular. So you can ask your audience a series of questions and do a poll and take that information and utilize that. You can create a private Facebook group and invite your most valuable audience members to join it and kind of do an informal like research group and ask them questions and get an idea of what they're interested in, how they feel about the idea, if there's, certain information that they would like to know about this, or how they like this information to be presented. Maybe they don't want a course. Maybe they want an ebook, or vice versa. The point is, you don't need to keep your idea so close to your chest. Your audience can offer you really valuable feedback. You just have to ask them. And I definitely think that you should. My third way for you to validate a product idea is to create a mini or a small version of it and then sell it. So you probably heard the saying, if you build it, they will come. But that doesn't necessarily work in the business world. A better strategy would be building a mini version and seeing if your audience will put down real money for it. So it's like putting your cash where your idea is. It's not just having people say, oh yes, I would buy that product, and then you go off to build it. You're going to tell them, okay, I want you to pay for it. You're going to ask them to pay a nominal fee. And in exchange, they're going to get the product at maybe a beta price or beta version. And this is just one way for you to get paid to test out your product idea. But two, you're also going to get a lot of really valuable feedback. So this is just a really great way to not only test the idea, but get some early feedback from probably your most vocal supporters. But they're going to be able to help you shape the product. And you'll be that much closer to creating a product that one, they really, really want. And that two, your larger audience is wanting to buy because it's that much more specific and that much more tailored to what it is that they want and need at that time. So definitely consider offering some type of a paid mini version of your product. And when I say a paid mini version, like if you were thinking in terms of like a course, and a course is going to have maybe 6 modules, maybe for this mini version, you create 1 module, or you don't even create any modules. You take the outline for your course and you build a sales page and you put up, how much the price is going to be. It's going to be a smaller amount than what the course will be once it's already done. So it's like an early bird pricing. And then you can set a goal in your mind. I want to sell 5 of these. I want to sell 10 of these. If I sell 10, then I know that this course is needed and I'm going to build it. And you be transparent with your audience about this. This is not a secret. You let them know if I don't get 10 sales by X amount of time, maybe in the first 30 days or something like that, that you're going to refund their money and then you won't be creating the course. But you make sure you give proper expectations up front. And that way you don't have people upset later on. And again, you're being paid to test out an idea, which honestly is the best case scenario because a lot of times we create products first and then we think about selling them afterwards. And time is money. So if you are being paid to create and test and research, that's probably the best of both worlds. That's like the win-win situation. My fourth and final way to validate your product idea is to try kickstarting it, aka running a crowdfunding campaign. This is one increasingly popular way to validate product ideas because we have platforms like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, I Fund Women that allow creators to test their ideas by asking for their audience to back them financially. Crowdfunding is not free money though, so don't get that twisted. You have to create a campaign with financial goals and rewards. And then you can ask your audience to back your campaign in exchange for rewards, which basically are pre-orders. It's a fancy way to think of pre-orders. Most crowdfunding campaigns do require you to raise 100% of your goals for funds to be paid out, but that's just a way to protect members of your community who back the project because, you need to have all the money available to fulfill the project in order to move forward. And so I think it's a good way to know, do people want this? If they want it, they have to put their money where their mouth is, and you have to collect all the funds. So if you collect all the funds, you know that you're probably in a good place for this product. I used the Kickstarter campaign to fund the second run of my visionary journal. It took me about 30 days to plan my campaign, marketing, and shoot my campaign video, but I was able to raise over $15,000 in just 30 days. So this isn't the easiest or the fastest way to test an idea, but if your idea requires capital and you want a great way to fund it without the use of loans, crowdfunding may be a good place for you to start and something for you to look into. So there we go. Those are my 4 ways that you can validate a product idea. Bottom line, it takes time to validate products, and it's not necessarily the easiest or the sexiest thing to do, but it can save you so much time, which again is your most precious resource. And it can just save you a lot of heartache so that you don't build something or create something, invest a lot of time and energy and emotions into something that ultimately your audience doesn't want or they don't even need. So save yourself some heartache and some frustration by spending some time up front testing out your idea and getting feedback from people, your audience, that type of thing. So I would love to know, do you have a product idea and how are you planning to validate it? You can share your answer with me on Instagram at Pimp Your Brilliance, look for the post about this episode and leave your comments there. I personally have a goal this year, and it feels kind of like a big goal, but I think it's doable, that I want to help 100 people create their first digital product before this year is over. So it would really be useful to me to know what kind of ideas you guys are validating, what kind of ideas you have that you think you want to create this year. So definitely let me know on Instagram what your plans are, and maybe I can share a resource or direct you to something that will help you get that done. All right. Well, that's it for this week's episode. But until next time, go out there and pimp your brilliance.